right, we're all here in our places and ready to join in our Unity friends and family online and here. We are a community of prayer, and as part of that, we have a prayer service at 9:30 in the morning. We have prayer afterwards. I'm the chaplain afterwards. If you'd like to join me for prayer, would like something extra, there's a prayer box behind us as well. If you have prayers that you just like to keep to yourself and God. And we also pray on Thursday mornings at 9:30 or 11 o'clock, excuse me, 9:30 today at 11 o'clock. And also as part of that, we have our daily word. And this would be the September one that is not here. September 2. Therefore, I'd like to pick a different one. Let's see. Where is God going to lead me instead? No, I know where it is. Bear with me just a moment. I know exactly where it is that I could read it instead. Today the word is refresh. Honoring the divine presence within, I am refreshed. Stretching and yawning after a good sleep, enjoying a brisk walk in the early morning, or sipping a replenishing drink after a workout or time in the sun, I feel refreshed. I move forward into my next activity with a renewed feeling of well-being. Building upon and refreshing my knowledge may relieve me from thinking too much about my obligations. Spending time with a good book or revisiting favorite passages from my favorite writing can give me a relaxing mental pause. I find many opportunities to refresh my awareness that God, the divine presence, is within me wherever I am, whatever I am doing. It takes only a moment to find God's presence reflected in the people and animals I encounter and in the natural beauty that surrounds me. And from Romans 15:32, so that by God's will I may come to you with joy and be refreshed in your company. And so it is. There are times when technology is really wonderful for us. So I appreciate that. If you don't get the daily word, you can subscribe to it through Unity Worldwide. And I am going to struggle a bit with reading some of this today. So, we will do the song, and Susan will be leading us in that.
Here we go.
Thank you.
We can do this. Song is My Soul is Welcome Here. Yeah, stand up. It feels a lot better. Your whole body gets to go at that. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm going to slow it down so we can all get the words. I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time, just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. From the beginning. Right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. It's a new song. We're learning. I think you can sit down. It's cool.
Well, again, good morning, everyone who is here virtually and in the house. As Reverend Patty says, we hope you hear something that you will take away from here. We hope that you will return based on what you hear. If not, we hope that you find your spiritual place wherever you may be. And we have 5 basic principles that we as Unity members subscribe to, and we'd like to read those together. So 1, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in our lives, God the good. 2, our essence is of God. Therefore, we are inherently good. This God presence was fully expressed in Jesus the Christ. 3, we are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind. 4, through prayer and meditation, we align our heart-mind with God. Denials and affirmations are tools we use. And 5, through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. And every month there is an affirmation. There's a color, there's a disciple that we connect to that affirmation and the spiritual belief. Our affirmation now for, wow, September. Whew. Summer kind of went by really quickly, didn't it? Our affirmation, I'll read it once, and then if you would join me. We are open, receptive, and responsive to our highest and absolute good from God. We are ready to receive God's will in our lives. Together. We are open, receptive, and responsive to our highest and absolute good from God. We are ready to receive God's will in our lives. And that power that we're speaking of is order. The intelligence of the universe expressing through each of us. The disciple is James, son of Alphaeus, and he represents the harmony and the balance available through centering our awareness. The corresponding color is the deep green that we have there. And the location is the front of the navel. Now, the actual affirmation to go with order is my life is balanced and in order and all is well. We say that together also. My life is balanced and in order and all is well. So we also have prayer requests. And if anyone has a request, we just do it by first name and the desired outcome. Denise. Sandra for healing. David and Ken for healing. I'm going to add Christine and Jim to that as well. Yes. Comfort and hope for Candy. Okay. Okay. Yes. I apologize. I'm sorry. Easy pregnancy. Hannah for comfort and easy pregnancy. Yes. I'm sorry, one more time. For your family, okay.
And Demore.
And Demore. Okay.
Susan? The family and friends of Diane and Barb.
Family and friends of Diane and Barb. Anyone else this morning? Again, friend usually has something. That today? Okay. Barbara for healing. We want to make sure we get everybody in there. Okay. We ask everyone to breathe in the Christ energy. which is already inside of us. And as we consider all of these prayers that have come before us, we ask the Father, Mother, Spirit, God, and can affirm that all of these prayers are already done. As we speak them, as we think them, our thoughts become reality. So we know that because God is good and wants everything for us that we desire, and will give us all that we desire. All we need to do, again, is speak it as we did this morning. We thank you, God, for the healing, the comfort, the pregnancies, the successful pregnancies, the other prayers that were requested here that were not fully spoken. You know who these people are and what they need. And we know it is so through the divine and the nature of Jesus the Christ. Amen. And so it is. Okay. We have another song by Susan, which will lead us into our meditation by Reverend Joann, and then our lesson for the day.
This is that our thoughts are prayers song. I think the words will be up there. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there, and every thought becomes a prayer. Our thoughts are prayers, the tools that we create with. Our thoughts are prayers that Spirit resonates with. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there, and every thought becomes a prayer.
And we'll take these words of the song, and as we are still and quiet, in this peaceful state, we want to bring order and peace in our lives, in our bodies, in our mind. In the state of peace and quiet, there is only good. There is only God. All other thoughts or memories of what is not peace and what is not order is gone from our mind right now. Let it go. The goal is to bring peace and order in our mind, in our hearts, in our bodies, and in our life and in our world. Peace and order. This is how we bring order back into our lives, into our bodies, into our world around us. Peace, be still, and know that I am God. It says in scriptures, peace, be still. And just as Jesus spoke to the winds, when there was wind at sea, he said, peace, be still. And the wind obeyed him. So with these thoughts of peace and stillness, we restore order in our lives. And we carry these thoughts with us throughout the day, throughout the week. And we take these thoughts into any difficult situation that arises. And we speak to any unrest or any disturbance. Peace, be still. And so today, beginning today, we will experience more peace and harmony and order in our lives. So we are thankful that we could take this time to restore peace and order in our lives, in our minds, and in the world around us. And so it is. So bring your awareness back to this room, the bright sunlight, and the message for today. I am happy to be with you today to tell you more about divine order. I'll read first of all something about order. Order is my ability to keep God first in my life. So when Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, that's the way we do things, putting God first. Order is harmony in different areas: prosperity, health, finances, awakening, even in the systems of our bodies. And we're going to touch on that in a minute. Order is also my ability to develop myself in proper sequence. So in the scriptures it says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so that's one of the principles here in Unity. We work at changing our minds to get our lives in order, or to bring goodness and God into our lives. In 1 Corinthians 14, it says, let all things be done in decently and in order. So we're going to learn how to put order in our lives. First of all, physically, there are these different systems in our bodies: respiratory system, digestive system. And of course, when things get out of order, then we may have difficulty breathing, we may have difficulty digesting, and so forth. So we need to look at what is upsetting us or what we are afraid of, and we need to bring peace and order into our thoughts about these situations. Dismiss the fear so that our breathing and our heart function is normalized. And with our digestive system, what are you not processing in life? What upsets you and gives you a stomach ache? You know, one of the first things that the medical profession recognized that our emotions caused the physical symptoms was with ulcers. That when things are upsetting us, our stomach doesn't work right, and it actually can cause ulcers. And so there are many things that have been recognized since then, but we need to get our emotions under control and bring peace and order into our thinking, and then restore order in our bodies. So mentally, what goes on up here can affect what's going on around us. So we need to pay attention to what goes on up here. Fear thoughts, anger thoughts, hopelessness, all these things can affect what's going on in our bodies. So we need to get our mind and thinking straightened out. And then spiritually, some people may think that doing bad things is how we get ahead in life. Some people are of the mentality that stealing is how you gain what you need, or that doing illegal things is how we get what we need. But that always has consequences that will always catch up with you. And it's amazing now with all the surveillance cameras and DNA testing that wasn't available even years back. They're solving old crimes with DNA testing. So it's almost impossible to get by with anything nowadays. The cameras are watching, and they're even with the traffic violations today and hit and run accidents. It's all on camera. So eventually they catch up with the car and the driver. So we need to get our thinking in order, that doing things that disturb the order of the world around us, there are consequences. And then financially, God is good. God is the source of our good. There is plenty enough for everybody and everything. But some people grow up with the idea or the belief that there's scarcity, that there's poverty, or you grow up and seeing that, and then you believe that that's just the way it is for you. But that's doesn't have to be true. You can set your goals higher to be able to have a better income, to have a better life. You don't have to be poor and to go without. There is enough. So when Jesus multiplied loaves and fishes to feed the thousands, there was enough to go around. There was more left over than when they started. And so there is enough. The supply is not limited. And so in the world, there's a lot about the idea of lack, that there's not enough to go around, not enough jobs, or not enough money. So we need to get our minds out of that and trust that we can draw from the unlimited supply that God has. And there's always new things coming along. So just this week, I'm getting that lesson. My car was in need of repair, and now I need to get a different car. Well, and it just so happens that in my home care job, 2 women moved on to other employment, and there was all these openings. So, okay, I volunteered. I said, okay, I have some days off or some hours of time that I can fill in those positions. And so that'll either help pay for the car repair or something different. So because I believe that my good comes to me, I'll use the word easily. That's what I have believed in for many years throughout my healing ministry and ministry to the inner city, rehabbing houses and helping prisoners, that there was always whatever was needed was going to be supplied. So that's divine order, that you have access or can draw to yourself the good. So now, life in the world. There's a lot of disorder in the world. And I have a couple stories I want to share from a book called Creating Miracles. There are some amazing stories of things that have taken place. So one is a story of Brian. Brian had just received his doctorate in psychology and had been working at his first professional job in a maximum security prison for only a few months when violence broke out. Prisoners seized weapons and hostages and began issuing non-negotiable demands from the library building they were occupying. The National Guard was called to surround the prison. Everyone waited to hear the governor's response to the prisoners' demands. The warden stormed into Brian's office and said, "You go there and convince those prisoners to surrender." Brian found himself headed to the library to tell a group of armed and desperate murderers that the governor had rejected all of their demands and that they had better throw down their weapons and release the hostages, or else. Well, what was that or else? Would he get shot? All of a sudden, he was thinking like Gary Cooper in the movie High Noon. So as he marched to the library, he's acting like Gary Cooper and he's making believe he's got guns. So what happened? And then he started singing the theme song, "Do not forsake me, oh my darling." And in other words, do not forsake me, God. I'm in this predicament here. And everybody started laughing. The prisoners, the guards. So he proceeded to the library. As Brian strolled into the library and explained the governor's response and the hopelessness of their position to the prisoners, who by now regarded him as a hell of a guy, minutes later, he presided over their peaceful surrender. So here's this guy that was acting out and got inspired to do it, and he caused the surrender. Some years ago, when the first house that was donated to our nonprofit organization, I was told that there was a couple living on the first floor, but the upstairs was empty. So I proceeded to go check that out. And what I found upstairs was approximately 24 people, men, women, and children, in squalid conditions. And I said, well, I'm the new owner of this building here, and everyone has to move on. Oh, and they were very upset, and they threatened to sue me. Well, I don't know what grounds they could sue me, because they were squatters, really. I decided, well, I'll pray with you. God doesn't want any of his people to be homeless. So I said a prayer with them that within the month, they would find a new place to live. So a lot of them perhaps were on disability and would get their checks the first or the third of the month. Come the first or third of the month, I went upstairs to check. They were all gone. So was I scared in that moment of facing all these people when I thought that apartment was empty? Yes, I was afraid. But I prayed with them, and it was a peaceful resolution to taking over that house and getting it rehabbed. So prayer is an amazing tool to change situations. Then there's another story of Gino. He had an incurable liver condition, and he was then hooked up to a machine that would do the function of the liver, but he's housebound, hooked up to a machine with tubes going into his body. But he had all this time on his hands. So he chose to use his time doing a visualization. Now, this might be a story to use with the power of vision or imagination, but it's also about restoring order to our bodies. So he would visualize cleaning parts of his liver with a toothbrush. So in his mind, the liver was diseased and dark in color, and it needed to be restored to pink. So as he would visualize cleansing little parts of his liver over a period of time, months went by. And one day when he's up and about in his apartment, but one of the tubes got hooked on the corner of a counter, kitchen counter, and it disconnected from his body. So he called 911 and had to be transported to the hospital. And of course, the doctor wanted to run some tests before they proceeded with anything. And so the first test came back and said, there's something wrong. This test didn't come out right. Ordered another test. That test didn't come out right. There's something wrong here. Third test, the same results. Doctor said, there's something wrong here. This isn't right. You must have a different liver. Where did you get that liver from? Well, nothing is wrong, the doctor said. There isn't a damn thing wrong with your liver. You left here 5 months ago with almost no liver function, and now you show up with this perfectly good liver. And what I want to know is, how the hell did you do that? I'm quoting directly from him. Visualization. He used the power of his mind to restore the function of his liver, to restore the function of a part of his body. So returning it to divine order of a function in his body. So that's a powerful message that we have the power to accomplish these things. Now in schools, there's a lot of disorder or lack of divine order in schools. There's unruly students, and sometimes there's uprisings, and sometimes there's shootings that come from the outside or from former students. There is a movie called Take the Lead. And in the movie, the star is Antonio Banderas. So in the story, and it's based on a true story, some students had damaged his very nice car. And he goes in to speak to the principal, your unruly students have damaged my nice car. And the principal's response was, well, if you have a solution to deal with unruly students, you're welcome to do it. This man was a dance instructor, ballroom dancing. So his goal is the unruly students were sent to the gym as a rule of getting them out of the classroom. So let's say there's about a dozen students there, and he's going to teach them ballroom dancing. But first of all, it's teaching simple courtesies, or what we might call in years gone by is being a gentleman, opening the doors for the ladies. So starting with just being kind to one another, and then the dancing. So this is kind of shocking to these unruly students, but eventually they got the hang of it and did very well with ballroom dancing. And then he entered them into dance contests, and they won. So then there was this great big performance of different schools and the dancing. And they had to, the boys had to come in tuxedos, and the girls had to come in nice gowns. And so that was another story of how they could accumulate these things. So again, they won the dance contest. But now at the end of the movie, it is stated, first of all, this is based on a true story. Secondly, other schools started adopting this method of bringing order into the schools dealing with disorderly students. And it grew over the years that, first of all, dozens of schools adopted this, and then it was hundreds of schools adopted this. So again, using a very unconventional method to bring order back into school systems. So maybe we need to get more of schools, maybe here in Milwaukee, involved in ballroom dancing. Anyway, I find these stories very fascinating, because in some of these cases where there is no order, somebody finds a method to bring order back into that condition. So, and last night, I was trying to think of the name of the movie, and I have it on old video, looking through my old video stash. Didn't find it, but someone looked it up on the internet. Ballroom dancing in schools starring Antonio Banderas. Oh, Take the Lead was the name of the movie. So I thank that person for getting me that information. So, can you now think of other areas that we can bring divine order back into what's going on in the world? Our prayer of protection that we say at the end of every service here. There was a story that I related last year on the subject of a woman who had a sign that my house is protected by God. It's not some security company, but my house is protected by God. So that caught on amongst her coworkers. But in this book on creating miracles, it says, a person who insisted on believing that everything was somehow going to be all right, despite all information being received. So let's say a doctor's diagnosis for a health condition, and he may give all the negative possibilities of what's going wrong. But in a story that I related last year about a girl who recovered from a spinal cord injury, she chose to believe in the scriptures, or what Jesus said, all things are possible if we believe. So she was investing her belief in the comforting thought, God is with me. Everything is going to be all right. In so doing, she automatically was selecting an experience of all rightness from infinite possibilities. So our life is not set in stone. There's some things that we signed up as lessons to be our soul's journey while we're here in these bodies, but there are infinite possibilities of what the outcome could be. So at the point of an injury is the thought, well, I'm going to be all right, this will heal, or, oh, this is terrible, I'll never get over this, or this is going to be difficult to overcome. So which way are you going to go? So again, there are infinite possibilities for the outcome of any situation that we're in. So whatever situation that seems to be out of order in your life, there are infinite possibilities to choose from. Which way are you going to go? So that everything is going to be all right. God is our protection. So when we say the prayer at the end of the service, prayer for protection, let's really take to heart the words of that prayer, because that is taking us in the direction of the divine possibilities of a good outcome. Jesus said, know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So what is that truth? Well, there are many truths, but if we choose the truth of healing, and all things are possible if we believe, that will set you free from, let's say, a negative diagnosis that a doctor may give you. Truth, we choose truth over fear. If we have a financial situation, we'll choose truth of blessings coming into our lives versus the fear of limitations. The choice is yours. So looking back at Charles and Myrtle Fillmore had these health problems, and so did Charles, and they couldn't support their family. So Myrtle learned about some truths about affirming healing for her body. And she worked at this, speaking to her body, and the truth set her free. She overcame those health problems. And likewise, Charles also had health problems and one leg that was shorter than the other. And he was able to allow that leg to grow so that he didn't need as big a lift on his shoe as he formerly needed. So the truth set him free as well. So truth sets us free. Another little story. Years ago, lightning rods were put on the top of houses. I don't think they do that anymore. They put rods into the ground. Well, right now I'm having an electric update in the house that I got last year. So, and the electrician was about doing his work the other day. He said, I'm going to put these rods into the ground to connect with electric something in the house. It's called grounding. And he comes with these big rods that are taller than him. And he's got to use a step ladder to get up on the top. And he's got a tool that, pounds it into the ground. And now there's only this much sticking out. Let's use this as an example of this truth that we need to pound into our heads. And we're not going to do it with a hammer, but we need to keep hearing these truths that set us free and get them pounded into our consciousness so that we do get set free. So my house will have a greater protection against lightning. I read someplace about ocean waves. So just this last week, Florida got pounded with a hurricane. So on this board over here, I have 4 different lines. And it is said that in a disturbance with high winds, the top, the waves are many feet high. And as you go deeper into the ocean, the waves or the movement isn't quite as high. And the deeper you go, there is no disturbance. So the moral of the story is, on the surface of our thinking and on the surface of what we are exposed to in our lives, what comes over the news or what goes on in the world around us, there's a lot of disturbance going on. But when we go deeper into our thinking, that's meditation and prayer, and find that peace within, find that stillness, then we're not affected by what's going on around us. And we are more able to bring about a change in what's going on, well, in our physical bodies or in the life around us, or we can become a peaceful person that helps restore peace, whether it's in our community or in our world around us. We could be a peaceful person to help restore peace. And there is a woman who has a peace wagon. She's a very peaceful person. And in some of the big cities where there's a lot of disturbances, she goes there with her peace wagon and helps to restore peace. So when we find that peace within, we're able to restore peace around us. We need a few people like that to go to Washington, D.C. You want to volunteer? And we have our World Day of Prayer for Peace coming up soon here at the church also. So we have the ability to restore order and make it divine order. So think about how you might be able to use this power, first of all, for yourself or in situations that you're dealing with. So peace brings order. So with that, I'll close. So I hope I brought you some inspiration and some ideas of how to restore orders in your life. So now it is time for the offering. So if you will hold your offering in your hands. And let's say the prayer together. There is no lack or limitation. Freely I give and freely I receive from God's abundance. I am blessed as I give, and unity is blessed in receiving. So while the basket is being passed, one other thing I have for you. This is from the Daily Word back in 1927. The law of truth and righteousness sets us free from all bondage of so-called limitation. When the law of God, the law of peace, health, and plenty is established in our hearts, we are no longer bound by laws of disease, inharmony, and lack. We place ourselves under the law of God, knowing that only good can come to us, that we can possess only that which will give us a blessing. When we think heavenward, we place ourselves under heavenly law. Exalted thoughts build the ladder by which the blessings of God descend to us. What a message from 1927 in a book on the 12 Powers by Charles Fillmore. Didn't want to miss sharing that with you.
This is a song called The Pages of My Life. And it works perfectly with what Joann was saying. We do get fussy and fast, and we don't need to. Or at least we need to know the way out. As I open to the pages of my life, look inside the words I write. I'm moving through the chapters of my time, flowing through the water that's all mine. It's my heart, it's my heart. Just like a river where the water is me, carrying a message that could set me free. It's my heart, it's my heart. Just like a river where the water is me, carrying a message that I need to see. It's my heart, it's my heart. Lessons all around me lead to shore, as I drift up on a raft to see some more, with a knowing that I cannot quite discern, just a never-ending quest to learn from my heart, from my heart. Riding down the river, I forget that it's me. I flow along and think that it's all destiny. Gotta go with the flow. Gotta go flow. And rushing water pushes and confuses me, throws me on a shore that doesn't seem like me. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Then I pull myself together one more time, writing on the pages of my mind. I am gathering the words calling me, words that come to set me free from my heart, from my heart, from my heart. Now moving back to water that refreshes me, with patterns I create that are the best for me. And I'm free, and I'm free, and I'm free. As I open to the pages of my life.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Joann, and thank you, Susan. How many years ago was that written, Susan? I know that's 20 years. 10 to 20 years ago. So, you know, I was going to say it still fits today. Timeless, just like we just heard in the other piece. So, you know, we can look back at what's happened in the past in our lives, and it can still be very, very relevant to us. I think there is a page missing from up here. Oh, sorry. The one thing we've got right here. I would like to extend from Reverend Patty a blessing to all of the givers who have given today, and in the hope that you have given freely and with joy, so that can continue our community to spread to the community, our unity community spread to the community in Wauwatosa and everywhere we go. So, Holy Spirit, I ask you to bless all these givers with health, wealth, wholeness, and well-being in every way. May they have peace of mind and feel your love in their hearts. And so it is. And thank you all who were able to give today. And then we have announcements. So there is a new book with our book club right now, and it's Why Weren't We Taught This in School? I bet there's going to be a lot of things in there that are familiar that people say. That's by Ellis Shelton. Thursdays at 9:30. You can attend virtually or in person. Let Kevin know if you want the virtual link. You're just starting that this week, Kevin. Did you want people to read a chapter? Starting next week. Okay. So if you got a chance to get the book, that would be great. And in the meantime, they'll be finishing the immigration matters also on this Thursday. And the other things we have going on, of course, our Course in Miracles every Sunday, about 11:45, 12-ish, as people are finishing up fellowship. Our Life Journey groups, which are the second and fourth Monday at 6:30. Again, you're welcome to join that and at any time you might like to do that. Visit our website, look for Reverend Patty's TikToks, they're pretty cool. And you can also get the information from our past services, just everything. You know, who are we? What are we? What do we do? So take a look at that and keep us up on the search engines, go visit that just because sometimes. See what you might have missed during the week. Of course, we always need volunteers. And Diane is somewhere. Oh, okay. She's heading over the volunteering, setting up our fellowship for us. So see her if you, whatever you want to do, finish up the watering. We're coming to the end of the season of the plants. Some of those need to be weeded out and taken care of at the end here. Putting envelopes in the pews. Obviously being here is a good volunteer, but feel free, any of the skills you have, maybe get a hold of her and see where they might be able to be used in our community. Of course, our World Day of Prayer is coming up on September 13th. We are going to be doing it virtually here, I believe, but please sign up on the sign-up sheet out in the lobby there, just so that everything can be set up for those that are coming. You can also watch it at home, and please, to do that, you need to go to the website, the Unity Worldwide website, and sign up for that as well. Potluck Sunday, of course, at the end of the month. Bring a dish to pass, fellowship, fun, sharing with everybody here. And it's always a good time. I'm always amazed at the wonderful things people make that I wouldn't make normally, and I might not even try normally, that I get to do here. So I thank all of you for those that do that. We do have our Love in Action, which is the red envelopes in the pew. It will help pay off the loan that Kevin talked about last week to do this parking lot and make it safe for everybody who's coming here. And then any other special projects we might have coming up. We have a Zen Master coming on September 8th, 7:30 to 8:30. And it's from the Great Lakes Zen Center. And a love offering is requested for that. And there's no sign up for that, Kevin? They can just come? Is that correct? Okay. So just come in and listen and join the information that's shared there. We have a town hall meeting coming up on the 17th following service. Find out what our board is doing, find out what the plans are coming up. I'm sure hear a bit of Reverend Patty's heart as to what she's got in mind for us as well. And you can also express your own thoughts and comments and feedback on what's happening there. Also in line with the 24th, with the potluck, there will be a sing-along following the service. I know everybody really actually likes that. You may not want to sing, but once we get into it, everybody seems to just love that. So please come and consider joining us for that as well. There'll be several of our Sunday musicians here, a couple other people that are musicians that you may or may not even know do that. And all of you are musicians too. There is music in everyone. I tend to believe that. Some folks may remember Diane Bloom, who was here several years ago and did some music with us. She is going to bring a group in called the Tret Fuhrer, and that'll be on October 6th at 7 p.m. here. There is a request to get tickets from her at Free Spirit Crystals in Butler. It's about 124th and Hampton. So you can just head out there during the day or give her a call and find out exactly what her schedule is to get those tickets. And then we have birthdays and anniversaries. Who has a birthday or an anniversary in September? I know Sandy Brown does. She asked me to mention it. She wasn't going to be here today. We have Susan. All right. Anybody else? Would this Susan like to lead us in happy birthday? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friend. Happy birthday to you. And Sandy. All right. Great. Thank you. Thank you. And hope you have a wonderful month of celebrating, because I'm sure you will. And last in our service is to join in the peace song. So I ask everyone to please stand as you are able, as you choose to. If you can turn toward the center to your fellows. And we will join in the song. Join for our prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. Anyone who might need prayer, I will be over on the side here as well. And enjoy the holiday weekend and be safe.